and welcome. I'm Karen Carpinteris, and joining me is Jen Firestein, my colleague. We're both from AARP. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited about what we're talking about today, AARP's Smart DriverTek program. Most of you who are watching have probably heard of AARP's driver safety program and our Smart Driver program, which is a 8-hour in classroom class about all those like tips and tricks and learning new things. Like back when I learned to drive, there weren't really roundabouts. First time I ever saw them was when I was in Europe, and it freaked me out driving in roundabouts. But the Smart DriverTek is AARP's driver safety's newest program, and I know, Jen, you've had a little experience. We were talking. This is about the new technologies that are in the vehicles today. And before we joined, I was telling Jen, I have a dumb car. I have nothing smart in my car. And Jen, you want to share with your car?
I had a dumb car up until 6 weeks ago, Karen, and I bought a new car, a 2022, and it has all the gadgets and technology and features that are talked about in this Smart DriverTek class. And I actually took the online course because I wanted to learn about the technology, because it's a little alarming the first time you're driving down the road with a new car and all of a sudden it starts beeping at you and warning lights are going on and the steering wheel starts shimmying and vibrating. And it's a little alarming because you're thinking, what's going on? And really the car is smarter than me. So I took the course because I thought I need to know what's happening here. And I know as you and I were talking about that, you were talking about how that same experience happened driving a rental car.
Yeah, I rented a car for work. I was going to Ohio. I'm on the freeway. I didn't even know that I didn't know it was a smart car. It was a normal dumb car. And all of a sudden the car braked really hard because the car in front of me was braking really hard. And it was shocking. I didn't know what was going to happen. It was just out of the blue, and it rattled me, to be honest with you, for a moment. So
yeah,
good they tell you that you have a smart car and these features, I think.
Right, exactly. And so much of an older adult's fears are that they're going to have to give up their keys. And having a smart car really allows you to drive longer because it has things like emergency braking systems and warnings to if you're starting to swerve into the other lane. It's got these features now that can allow older adults to stay driving longer, which is really great.
Yes. And, driving is so linked to our independence, and everyone wants to stay independent as long as possible.
Yeah. And so I think it's exciting that AARP offers this course and because it's one of our best kept secrets, we want to really get the word out about this, because especially with new technology, as new cars are built, that new technology is automatically put in there. So you need to know how to use it. You need to know why your car is beeping and blinking and shimmying. So it's just really important to have the understanding, especially as you're going into looking at a new car or buying a new car, and understanding what are all the features.
Absolutely. I agree. So for those who are watching, we invite you to ask questions at any time. Just put them in the comment section. They're out on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll see them over here. And so today I'm going to introduce our presenter. I want to introduce Mary Munn-Casey. She is going to talk about the AARP Smart DriverTek program. Mary is one of AARP Michigan's volunteers, and she's trained to deliver the Smart DriverTek program. And in fact, we'll be doing so on April 13th from 10 to 11:30. And if you want to find out about that program and sign up for it, you can go to the AARP Michigan virtual events page, and you get there by going to AARP Michigan website and clicking on virtual events. And you'll see there the Smart DriverTek program on April 13th you can register for. You can also register for any of the other programs we have coming up. We have some great ones, or some ones that are we've done in the recent past. So welcome to Mary. Mary, there we go. Hi, Mary.
Hi, thank you. Hey, I loved your stories, Jen and Karen. It's participants such as yourselves that I love to see in our workshops, because I've had participants say they've got a brand new car. It's sitting in their garage and they're kind of afraid to drive it even because of things. It's talking to them. It's, beeping and boping and turn signal. The steering wheel's kind of doing things for them, and they're like, what? So they're afraid. And these are all technologies that can help. And it's also important to know also when you might want to turn it off, and to just learn more about the technology and things. And then, Karen, we also get people who said, I don't have any of that in my vehicle, but we rented a car. So we get exactly that. And we do, by the way, wrap up a little bit, talking about the future of vehicle technology a little bit, as well as alternatives for those who perhaps might choose not to drive, and have other mobility options and things. A little summary of that too. So it's a lot of fun, and I love sharing the technology of these vehicles to keep us safer and longer on the roads.
Yes. Well, so can you share with our audience what the goals of the Smart DriverTek program is? You kind of covered them a little bit there.
Right. Well, the goals is to share this technology. We start out with technology that has to do with sensors on the front and rear of the vehicle for braking and things. And again, this technology that we talk about, most of it is all around based on research with the Hartford and AARP, and it's all around preventing crashes, not technology like airbags and things that after a crash help keep you safer. But this is rather, hey, let's not even get in a crash technology. Okay, so it's about that, and it's not the end all be all, because we understand that different manufacturers have little bit different nuances sometimes how they do the technology, but it's an introduction of the technologies may work this way, and for people to know where to look, and know to look and to ask questions. So it's an introduction, and hopefully it'll help people be able to use their technology, ask questions about it, either look in their deal, to their owner's manual, talk to their dealer. But it gives them an introduction to that. Hopefully, tells them how to use it, what to look for, what might happen, and keep them safer on the road as a supplement. It doesn't take over. You talk about automatic braking. It was braking. It's still important that your foot's going to be moving to that pedal. It's still important that you're paying attention. The lane departure and blind side mirrors to keep you, seeing what's on the side. It's still important to turn your head and look. All of that's important. These are all enhancements. Maybe you're next door and you can't turn as much as you used to be able to. They're all enhancements, and to use those enhancements so you drive safer for yourself and the people around you.
Right. We don't want to crash, because if you're you're much more likely to be injured as the older you get. You just a little less there to help keep you safe.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mary, you were talking about them as enhancements, and I was joking with Karen because I said I have all this new technology now, like the AEB, the automatic emergency braking. I'm like, part of me wants to test it out and see if it actually works, and then I think, well, what if it doesn't? And then I purposefully crash, right? Don't test it out. It's an enhancement for those moments when you maybe aren't paying attention or you don't have the mobility. But yeah, don't purposefully try to test these.
But we don't want you to be surprised when it happens.
Right.
Say, oh, yeah, my car's doing what it's supposed to. It's cool. Although we do, by the way, Jen, we do suggest a few you could test out. For instance, we do mention the automatic parking assist. And I think many of you may have seen commercials where, you want a parallel parking or, along the street. It can, sometimes you might need to put it in gear and to reverse, maybe the accelerator pedal all operate a little bit differently, but it can park for you. And you've seen it where it backs up, pulls into a parking space. It analyzes the space needed, and if you have enough space, and if so, it'll park for you. We do suggest that people, because that one can be a little I'm not sure how this works. We do suggest people might want to go into a big parking lot or even, near their home with some maybe soft trash barrels as cars instead. And try the technology and see how it works so you can see how to use it and, be more comfortable in using it. So there are a few you might want to try out. But certainly automatic braking on the road might be a little more, maybe a big trash barrel in that case too.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
that's
Mary,
important.
you were talking about the safety of it. And when I did the course, I wrote down a couple of statistics because I thought it was interesting that the forward collision warning reduces crashes by 27%, and the automatic emergency braking reduces crashes by 54%. So those
Yeah,
are huge numbers.
they are very huge numbers. Just imagine it certainly is safer. And I believe we do mention that more and more are of these really safe options are getting to be standard and required standard equipment. You know, so and we do mention some of the technologies that um, are safer from a standpoint of visual, being able to see better, like uh, the headlamps, automatic headlamps, so that if your some operate such that the steering wheel, so as you're turning at night, the lights so it'll be able to show on the corner, so you can see around the curve better to see what's coming around the curve at you. And certainly more mature drivers such as myself, I really like seeing in dark areas, seeing that better, the corners and such. Or automatic lights that if you're in high beam will go to high beam. If a car is coming at you, they'll automatically go to low beam, which I like, so that I don't have to remember. I'm always afraid to have the high beams on because I'm afraid I'll forget to turn them off and bother the oncoming vehicle. These vehicles, some of them will automatically go down to low beam, and after you pass it, go back up to high beam. So there's that head-up display, which is the technology where you can see information in your windshield and out above in space beyond your windshield. So you don't have to look down at all. No, there's so many things that distract us in the vehicle, from all the different navigation and screens and buttons and things. It's nice to be able to keep more focus on looking forward and looking. So a lot of the technology that helps that. So it's we also mentioned the technology to keep either our furry friends or our children safe, to make sure we don't forget they're in the back seat. The technology that'll remind you you had opened the back door at the beginning of your drive, and when you get out, it reminds you. Even can send a app to your phone that, hey, check in the back seat because you had opened the back door when you started this trip. Make sure you didn't leave something in the back seat, like our furry friends or children, or our ice cream that's going to melt. So we want to make sure it's not something in the back seat. So that's technology that we also review.
So what are my understanding was that it had about 9 of the most common assistive technologies, but you've mentioned more than that.
Well, yeah, we do have. I mean, some of them are lumped together. We have first 3 type of technologies that deal with the sensors in the vehicle from the front and rear,
Okay.
and that would be the ones that we're maybe more used to, like when we're backing up, it beeps, and the camera, all the front and rear cameras, So, I love the feature where the screen shows me with an arrow if I'm backing up that there's an oncoming vehicle and which direction it's coming from, which is great in the parking lot. So those are the 3 type of technologies for front and rear sensors. We also deal with the technologies that we'll say are sensors on the side of the vehicle, blind side detection, lane departure detection, We also have, and this is one technology that most people are least familiar with, usually in our little survey we do. That's Drowsy Driver. And it also, if you're going out of the lane, or sometimes the technology can check your eye, your eye contact camera and things. So if they're closed, it's going to let you know too long, or if they're off the road too long. Sometimes that technology lets you know if you've been driving for 2 hours or X amount of miles, and a little coffee cup emblem might come up to say, maybe you need to take a break. You could be drowsy now. That can be programmable. Again, different manufacturers execute it differently, but that's in that category of sensors on the side. And then we do talk about a few of these others, like smart headlights, the head-up display, those type, the 360-degree camera application where you can see all around the vehicle, 360 degrees. So great technologies.
Well, it sounds like they need to put in some of those and mandatory for any teenager who's going to drive a car and might text.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. Be good for them too, right? Not just us mature drivers. I think it's good for everyone, but.
Absolutely.
And Mary, you discussed that this will eventually, some of these things will become standard technology. Right now, they're still amenities, but eventually they'll be standard.
Right. And I think we're seeing more and more on more models as standard or trim levels. I think if you go out there and do a search, and we do recommend that our potential buyers do go and do a search and study this technology. One of the things we want to get out of the workshop is, if you are buying a new vehicle, that it'll help you decide what you want to ask for. The manufacturers name it so many different things, but if we can describe how the technology behaves generally, then as a potential buyer, I can go to my dealer and say, hey, I want a vehicle that will automatically brake if I'm about to hit something, stop. Or I want a vehicle that has the adaptive cruise so that it can speed up and slow down as I can adjust the distance. Or, they may not know the word, but they know how to describe it then. Right. And that's one of the things we want out of this workshop, is to help that potential buyer know what they want to ask about, what they want to look into in a new vehicle for their technology.
And not just what they want, but what's available, because you named things that I had no idea were available.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And Mary, are there industry standards for some of the definitions for this stuff? Because like what you were just saying, that was my experience when I was out car shopping. Every car manufacturer calls it something different. And it's very, very confusing to figure out, okay, what does this car have compared to this car, because they call it different things. So are there industry standards for the definitions?
I am not familiar with industry standards for these type of technologies we're talking about. I sure would hope they would get to that. But we give an example of the automatic emergency braking. I don't know how many examples we give about manufacturers call it all something different. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they operate a little differently. So it's important to know what's in your vehicle, to make sure you know how it operates, to make sure you know you can turn it off or you can't. Some may reset after you reignition, ignite your car, restart your vehicle. All those things, it's important to understand to use them properly, or to use them at all. Maybe it's programmable, maybe it's a switch, and you don't even know it has a switch, and you're not even turning it on, and it could help you drive safer, and you don't even know it's there. Yeah.
Well, this sounds like a great program for a wide variety of people. The people who have one of the newer cars that have these features and want to learn more how to use them. People who are thinking about buying a car and what they might want to make sure they have. And then people who are renting cars. So really covers the gamut of everybody.
Yeah. And even people getting a loaner car, you take your car in to get serviced and they give you a nicer, newer model because they want to upsell you. And you get this model and you don't even know necessarily how to drive it off the parking lot.
Yeah, it's I think it is helpful. It's a 90-minute workshop, as I think you mentioned, Karen. And we do have a lot of opportunity for discussion and questions. So it's oftentimes a real fun dialogue.
Excellent. So I want to thank you today, and I want to encourage anybody who's watching and like to take the program. We have one coming up April 13th from 10 to 11:30, and you can register to take that by going to the AARP Michigan Virtual Events page. There at the bottom of your screen, you get there by going to aarp.org/mi and clicking on virtual events.
Yeah. And the benefit to watching it live is that you can ask the questions that you have of the facilitator and get your questions answered in live time. Now, if you can't make it, we also have the on-demand course like I took. The benefit is that you can watch it on your own time frame. You just don't get to ask live questions of the facilitator.
And, you know, Jen, I've had some participants ask about seeing the slides again. So I've seen some of them find it very useful to participate in the workshop live. And then now they'll have a place where they can go back and refresh themselves on a few areas that they want to. And they can do that online then. So I have found that to be helpful.
Yeah. And we put the direct link for the Smart DriverTek course in the comment section. So you can click on that and you can learn more about it.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you again on April 13th.
Yes. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Right. And thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Jen.
Have a great day, everybody.